Alright, so I want to do a follow-up video to the last one that I did about Ant-Man and the Wasp and how it's going to tie into Avengers 4. And I want to first of all give a shout out to a commenter by the name of Prescribed Drone who influenced this video and inspired this video. And I actually went around and I saw some other YouTubers discussing this theory, and I want to address it on this video. So before we go any further, this video is going to have spoilers for Avengers 3 Infinity War and Ant-Man and Wasp. So if you haven't seen those movies, get on it. I mean, there's no reason for you not to have seen it. And like I said, Ant-Man and Wasp was a great movie, and it's too bad that it's not getting the love it deserves, but still. So, Prescribed One wrote, and again, this is a follow-up to the previous video where we're talking about time travel being a thing, because if you remember at the end of Ant-Man 2, Scott Lang is stuck in the quantum world, the quantum realm, and Janet makes a comment about, oh, watch out for time vortexes. So I get a comment from Prescribed One, and he says, what if his daughter and Bill Foster Lawrence Fishburne help find him because she knows what he was doing and she does become a hero in the comics? Yeah, we're going to talk about that here because there's actually more to it than that. Daniel Rodriguez writes, Cassie got a new older actress, so you never know. Now, what he's referring to is in the leaked set photos from the film, from Avengers 4, there is what appears to be Scott Lang and Tony Stark and Captain America from Avengers 1, at least Captain America from Avengers 1, and they're all talking, and they have these like bracelets, right? So it looks like there's time travel involved. So the theory that's going around is that maybe what ends up happening in Avengers 4 is not so much that, and like I said in the other video, is that I thought that maybe they were going to use the time vortex to go back in time, but that might not be the case. What may happen is Scott Lang inside the quantum realm might get trapped in a vortex that sends him to the future, which is why Tony Stark has gray hair and why they did indeed recast Scott's daughter, Cassie Lang, as an older actress. Why would they do that? Well, another commenter left this comment right here. This is Neo Noah Gaming. He writes, I agree. I think Scott will float around there and he'll find a time vortex and go through it and grow back to normal size on the rooftop 10 years later. A 16-year-old Cassie Lang was cast, so maybe Scott will find her to go to the Avengers to find an older Tony who's been trying to figure out how to beat Thanos. Then they all shrink down and travel through time to go back and get the Infinity Stones and so on and so forth through the quantum realm. That makes sense. Now, in the original comics, Cassie Lang, who is Scott Lang's daughter, is indeed a superhero. She's a member of the Young Avengers, and she's known as Stature, and then later on she's known as Stinger. So she does indeed become a superhero in the comics. She's the daughter of Scott Lang, but in the comics, she has like a heart condition. It's a different story in the comics, but nonetheless, she's still his daughter, and they could very well do something where she does become a hero in Avengers 4, or maybe at the very least he finds her and she at least is able to get him to Tony to tell him what the heck's going on. So this whole idea of Scott going a little bit into the future and then going far into the past, I think makes even more sense. So here's the scenario that we're kind of putting together here for you guys. Scott Lang, Ant-Man, is stuck in the quantum realm. He goes through a time vortex and ends up jumping like 8 to 10 years in the future. In the future, half the population's gone. The world is still there, but Thanos is nowhere to be seen. He's somewhere in space. And what happens is Scott Lang finds his daughter Cassie, and then she can explain to him what happened, the snap and everything, and how the Avengers pretty much disassembled, whether they wanted to or not, and then have it lead to a story where Scott Lang does go meet up with Bruce Banner, Iron Man, Tony Stark, meet up with all these characters and eventually come up with a plot to go through time, through the quantum realm, because they realize that if Scott was able to go through time, they can manipulate the quantum realm to do it, because Hank Pym, Bill Foster have been doing it for years, and Bruce Banner and Shuri and Tony are very intelligent. They could figure out that they have to go through time and wear those like wristbands and then use them to change the past and to fix the problems that Thanos created. Also, supposedly there might be alternate realms and alternate universes, so maybe they can go to an alternate universe, find a different set of Infinity Stones, and make it happen. Either way, the idea of Scott going into the future first and then the past to fix everything, I like it even more, because then it gives the Hulk and Tony and all these guys a reason to look into it, because if it worked once, it can work again. So I love that theory. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about that? Are there any other theories about Avengers 4 involving Ant-Man that you want to throw at me? I am curious to hear it, and I'm curious to know what you think. This was just a quick follow-up to my last video, talking all about Ant-Man and the time travel stuff, because I love time travel stories, and I think it could be great if they do it that way. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.